Joining me on the line is Canadian pro wrestling star, currently on tour right here in Ireland, Dru Onyx. Dru, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Definitely a pleasure to be on the kick out. I'm ready and willing to, answer all questions.
Appreciate it, man. So you've been wrestling now since 1999 now, so you've been wrestling now for 16, 17 years now. So what influenced you to first become a pro wrestler?
Well, I've always had a love and a passion for pro wrestling as early as 6 years old. The first time I saw pro wrestling, I was enamored by it. I was, and I still am, a big comic book fan, and I just found the connection between what the superheroes looked like and the wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the same thing. They had tights, they had masks, they had capes, they were colorful characters. So for me, as a kid, that was the closest thing as superheroes coming to real life.
Okay.
So, I used to watch it all the time, any chance I can get. I used to read up on it. And what got me into it is I was playing American football in the States, and as I was there was a house for, some of the football players to live, and we were watching wrestling.
Okay.
And I saw Sean Waltzman, X-Pac.
Okay.
And I think at that time he was wrestling Razor Ramon, and my thoughts were, well, he doesn't look like the biggest guy, and if he's in the WWF and he's a pro wrestler, then this could be something that I can get into. And after that match, I started making some phone calls and then trying to pursue to get myself into a school.
That's pretty cool. So you've wrestled now under many different promotions across the world, particularly here in Europe and in North America, Canada and the United States. What's it been like to wrestle across all these different promotions?
It's an amazing thing because, first of all, you get to see the world. Professional wrestling has been really good to me as far as it allowed me to see different places, different people, enjoy their culture, get to know people. It makes you become worldly, aside from the fact that it's international competition, and you always want to pride yourself on the fact that you're able to perform at a very top level against different people, and you want to know that it validates if you are a good wrestler, because bookers or promoters bringing you in and having you go up against their top talent, it only makes you a better wrestler yourself, and then it gives it's a good thing. It's a good thing all around. So I would tell anybody who has a chance to leave their home spot to go and travel, and you learn so much, and it definitely builds up your repertoire.
Absolutely. So you wrestle under the name of Dru Onyx. How would you describe the character and persona of Dru Onyx?
Okay, well, as a heel, he's obnoxious, he's arrogant, he's a bully.
Okay.
As a face, he's endearing, he's charming. He's he's the type that will shake hands and kiss babies when he's a good guy, and when he's a bad guy, all he wants to do is covet championships and be the very best and let everybody know that he's the best. That's basically it.
Would there be any other wrestlers or people who influenced any part of your character?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Besides the Dru Onyx persona, I also have Soa Amin, and he's the son of supposedly Abdullah the Butcher.
Oh really?
So yeah, so Abdullah the Butcher, as far as the look, and some of the things that he did, the savagery, I try to incorporate that when I'm Soa Amin. And as Dru Onyx, it was Ric Flair. Ric Flair was one of my favorite wrestlers. But most importantly, how he used to conduct himself. He was very professional. He was always wearing suits. He was very articulate. He reminded me of a lot of the boxing heavyweight champions. I'm a big fan of boxing, and a historian when it comes to the history of boxing and wrestling also. But all the heavyweight champions used to dress in suits. Used to conduct themselves in a way that you had to automatically had to respect them, and just for the very fact that he was a traveling champion. He would go from place to place and take on the very best, and I tried to incorporate or copy or emulated some of that. Also, on another thing, Bam Bam Bigelow.
Okay.
He was an agile big man, and he was the first person that I noticed, and I knew that when I started, I was very athletic as a big man, so I used to watch what he would be able to do, and he'd be able to do drop kicks and cartwheels and stuff like that, and I thought that was always impressive as a big man. So, when I first started, I was doing cannonballs off the top rope. I still do enziguris. I still do leapfrogs and drop kicks. Also, Vader, once again, a big man that can move.
Yeah.
So, even to this day, I still use the Vader bomb. So these were the guys that I would try to emulate. Also, Randy Savage, just the how unpredictable he was.
Yeah.
Also, I'd say Arn Anderson. He'd be such a heel, but he'd be oblivious of the fact that he was a heel. So was Savage. Even Flair. I used to love the technical rule breakers that would do wrong but didn't realize they were doing wrong, because the best villains are the villains who don't think they're villains. Most villains always think they're the hero. So I try to incorporate that when it came to my persona as a heel.
That's very cool. So you've trained under, of course, Marc Pilon in Quebec, and then later on by Tokimitsu Ishizawa, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
That's right. That's right.
How encouraging were both your trainers for your professional career?
Very. Mark was amazing. He took his time with me. He saw how much I loved wrestling, and he really mentored me. He taught me the basic fundamentals of pro wrestling. He taught me how to be safe with my opponents. He went out of his way. He would always, take me to wrestling shows, both the good ones and the bad ones, so he could, show me and allow me to, to appreciate, when you go to good shows and good venues, and the bad ones, to stay away from it. You know what I mean? Like, every bad show or, bad wrestling, it was like a cautionary tale. Like, this is what you need to do so this wouldn't happen. So he gave me a lot of knowledge early on, and whenever he used to go and do seminars across I live in Quebec, Canada, and he would be constantly going to Quebec to do seminars with other promotions. He would always take me as an assistant, and that would also help me because teach once, learn twice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as I was getting a knowledge from him, and I'd also watch how he would conduct his seminars, which would later I would integrate in what I was doing later on. As far as Mr. Ishizawa, or Kendo Kashin, that was his wrestling, his name. I love that guy. You know what I mean? He was no nonsense. You came in, he demanded respect. You had to work hard. You know what I mean? And I loved training. I loved training under him. You know what I mean? I would go out to always to try to impress him and try to be the best of my abilities. And you had to, because he was the trainer for the New Japan dojo in the States, and there was a lot of talent in that classroom. So you had to step it up. And he was very patient, and both those guys were an integral part of my upbringing as far as professional wrestling.
That's pretty cool, man. So you faced obviously a who's who of familiar pro wrestling names over your career. Who would you say are your favorite wrestlers to be in the ring with, and why?
Okay, you're gonna think that I'm being biased because I'm in Ireland, but a few of them are Irish wrestlers. Paul Tracy, Finn Balor, Fergal Devitt, those guys. Amazing. Well, first, Paul Tracy, you can't have a bad match with him. He's one of the top guys. He travels on the international level. It's always a pleasure to be in the ring with him. Finn Balor. When I was wrestling for NWA UK Hammerlock, it was him and Paul Tracy that I had to wrestle every night for a week, and then the next following tour it was for 2 weeks. And wrestling Finn, it was a constant challenge because he's so tenacious inside the ring, and one of my highlights was wrestling in Wales against him. I was defending the British Commonwealth Championship, and it was a no holds barred, no disqualification match, and it was crazy. Another time I had to fight him was in Nashville, Tennessee, once again for the British Commonwealth Championship. And it was that match that gave us the invitation to train at New Japan. Also, I had an opportunity to wrestle tag with Shelton Benjamin
Oh, cool.
from WWE, and we wrestled against Sylvain Grenier, one half of the Resistance, and the Hurricane. So that was a highlight. That was really cool. Also, there's another wrestler in Montreal. His name is Pat Gannett. We've had wars. Like I said, when I wrestled at Soa Min, we practically killed each other and spilled a lot of blood over 3 years. So, you know what I mean? When I think about, like, you know, some of the highlights in the match. Also, I had a crazy match with Sabu. So,
Sabu, cool.
you know, these are matches that, you know, remember. And then there's like the nostalgic stuff, you know, like I had opportunities to wrestle like King Kong Bundy, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Honky Tonk Man. So, you know, these were great memories for me because these are guys that I used to watch on TV, and then to actually be in the ring with them, you know what I mean? There was a little bit of a mark out moment. It was like, whoa.
Yeah. So you mentioned like highlights of wrestling, like wrestlers such as those. What other highlights would you say stand out in your professional career so far?
Recently, being a four-time NWA British Commonwealth champion was good. I was also a North American champion, a UK champion. So, you know, all the titles that I've won for the National Wrestling Alliance were highlights. Recently, I had the opportunity to I run a wrestling school called the Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling Dojo, and I had the opportunity of getting Kevin Owens ready for his WWE tryout. So what happened was, you know, as you know, Kevin Owens was an international star, former world champion at Ring of Honor, and you know, he wanted to get ready for this. So he came to my school and very humble, worked hard for a month and a half. We got him ready, and you know, now you see him there. So that was a highlight to see that, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Somebody that I helped get to a higher platform.
Especially considering how well he's doing at the moment. Like, he's killing it in WWE at the moment. So
listen, sorry.
No, sorry. What were you going to say? Beg your pardon.
Well, yeah, no, I was going to say, like, he was a great wrestler before. You know, all we did was just, you know, I had an opportunity to try out for the WWE pretty recent before he did, so I was able to just give him some of like the heads up of what they expected and stuff like that. And also the training that I got from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he killed it. He's great talent.
Now, as you mentioned, you have your own pro wrestling school in Quebec in the Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling Dojo. What approaches do you take as a trainer for training new wrestlers into the business, and how rewarding is it for you?
Well, the two things I try to get to them is that to enjoy their passion. You know, you're always one bump away from retirement, and you also have to realize that people will live vicariously through you. Not everyone who loves pro wrestling has an opportunity to even get into the ring and try to achieve their dream, whether it's you know, just to wrestle locally or try to go for tryouts or you know, get to the highest level of professional wrestling. Another thing I try to do, and I stress, is to both educate and motivate. You know, give them the basic fundamentals of what they need to be on the tools to become a professional wrestler, and to get them to get to their full potential. So, you know, I really try to motivate, try to let them know that, you know, while they're at my school, to give 110% and to commit to excellence. I teach also, it's not just what you do in the ring, but what you do outside of it. You know, the wrestling business is a business. So 90% of it is a business, 10% is the actual wrestling. So how you conduct yourself as a person, how you project yourself as a person is a reflection of who you are, and you have to keep that in mind. So always move at a professional level. Always conduct yourself, you know what I mean, to be an asset to the community, whether it be wrestling or otherwise.
It's a pretty cool approach, man, to teach everyone. So obviously now you're touring at the moment with 3 of your proteges in Flo Riley, Adiris Mowabi and Mustafa Jordan. How are you enjoying the experiences in Ireland so far?
Well, they're loving it. It's my 6th tour.
Your 6th tour in Ireland. That's pretty cool.
That's because I love this country. I love the people. I love the culture, and I keep on coming back. As far as them, they're enjoying it tremendously. They had their first match internationally with Main Stage Wrestling earlier last week, and they had all good matches, and they enjoyed the crowd. And then after that, they went out and they got to enjoy the nightlife. They hit a couple of pubs. We had a few training sessions during the week, and they're just loving the experience. It's something that I'm sure that if I do another tour, which I'll do next year, they'll definitely come back. And they're all getting ready for their match tonight at Celtic Championship Wrestling.
That's pretty cool. So as far as yourself, Dru, do you have any short-term or long-term goals you'd like to accomplish in your wrestling career?
Yeah, most definitely. In 17 years, I've had the opportunity to do a lot of things. A lot of stuff has been checked off on my bucket list. One is to expand my school more. I have a very nice gym, but I just want to set it up to get to the next level, maybe later on, maybe relocating, so have a bigger space, allow more people to come and actually live at the dojo. There's been a lot of inquiries from overseas to come down and stuff like that. So, add more equipment. Also, I want to, there's a few places that I haven't had a chance to wrestle. I want to wrestle in Puerto Rico. I'd like to go to Japan. There's what else is there to do? And if it's possible, just to go out and do even more seminars. I really love teaching. I really love going out and letting people tap into my experience and my knowledge, and if I can shed any wisdom to those people, I could do that, and that's basically it.
Cool. So finally, I must ask you, you come from obviously a very long line of great pro wrestlers to come from Canada. In your opinion, though, who do you think, living or dead, is the greatest Canadian wrestler of all time, or even wrestlers of all time? Because there's probably so many.
Well, yeah, there's a couple, because and there's always the who's your favorite and who's the best. What I mean? We have a long line, from world champions like Ronnie Garvin, Ivan Koloff. Then you have people like, first Intercontinental Champion Pat Patterson, two-time NWA World Champion Whipper Billy Watson. There's also, Roddy Piper, Rick Martel. If you had to do it on a base of stats, you'd have to say Edge, because he was 11-time world champion, I think 19-time tag team champion.
Yeah.
You have Jericho, who's undisputed first world champion. Bret Hart, 7-time champion. As far as favorites, it would have to be Bret Hart and Rick Martel. But as far as the greatest, you even have to put Abdullah the Butcher. Just the fact that he's been wrestling. He wrestled for almost 40 years, and a lot of people don't know that he's actually from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. But if I had to go stat-wise, it would have to be Edge, and then if I had to be my favorite, it would have to be Bret Hart.
Those are very good choices either way, both statistically and favorite wise, so I can't argue with either of them personally.
Yeah.
So CCW Summer Brawl, you'll be taking part in the traditional Celtic Rumble that'll be taking place on August 27th in Cork. Tickets are still available on eventbrite.ie and ticketmaster.ie. Dru, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much to speaking to us today. All the best in the rest of your tour here in Ireland, all the best back in Canada, and thank you so much for coming in for the chat.
Not a problem. I just want to give a few quick shout-outs to a few people while I've been here in Ireland. I'd like to say what's up to Leonard Hanna from Main Stage Wrestling. He's been taking great care of me. I also like to say what's up to Low Blow, I think, Entertainment for the party last week at, I think, what was it called? You were there.
In the Woolshed in Dublin.
The Woolshed, yeah. For the pay-per-view, that was really good. A big shout out to Jade. Also, I will be wrestling. I'll be facing Lycan. Looking forward to that. Anybody who's in the Cork region, come check that out, because we're going to really throw down. So a big shout out to Celtic Championship Wrestling. Also, I want to say Uprising Wrestling Academy. We did some stuff over there. Also, Fight Factory, who I've been around with for years. So Phil Boyd. Big shout out to Paul Tracy. Congratulations to Finn Balor for being the first WWE Universal Wrestling Champion. And also after tonight with CCW, I'll be at Irish Whip the following day. I think I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Tipperary?
Close enough, Tipperary.
Tipperary.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to be there. So, and also I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here on the show. Guys, everyone check out the show. The Kick Out is the hottest show in Ireland.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on, Dru. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, sir.